She was elegance, power, perfection. But at 75, Diana Ross finally opened up about a truth she kept buried for decades. Behind the glamorous gowns and flawless performances was a woman carrying emotional scars few ever saw. And when she finally spoke, it changed how the world saw her forever. But to truly understand this moment, we have to go back to where it all began. Diana Ross was born on March 26, 1944, in Detroit, Michigan, one of 6 children in a tight-knit family. Raised in the Brewster Douglas housing projects, life wasn't easy, but it was filled with love, music, and dreams. She often took on more responsibility than most girls her age, helping around the house while quietly imagining a bigger world. But even then, she felt pressure to be perfect, always composed, always dependable. That need to please others would follow her for decades, and though she smiled on stage, she carried an invisible weight on her shoulders, one that grew heavier as the spotlight drew closer. Little did anyone know these early experiences quietly laid the foundation for the hidden battles ahead. By her late teens, Diana had joined the Primettes, soon to become the Supremes. What followed was nothing short of history. With Motown behind them, they skyrocketed to global fame. Diana became the face, the voice, the center. But fame didn't come without a cost. Behind the polished choreography and glittering gowns were sleepless nights, constant pressure, and growing resentment within the group. Diana often felt isolated, trapped between her loyalty to the music and the weight of being everyone's expectation. The world adored her, but few asked how she was holding up, and even fewer knew what she was sacrificing to stay on top. As the spotlight intensified, behind their smiling facade lay a growing shadow of private suffering. In the 1970s and 80s, Diana Ross became more than a singer. She was a cultural icon, sold-out tours, hit after hit, and an Oscar-nominated performance in Lady Sings the Blues. But behind the scenes, her personal life was unraveling. Her relationships with Berry Gordy, with her bandmates, with herself, became tangled in the very fame she worked so hard to build. She gave everything to her career, even when it left little room for love, rest, or healing. Diana would later admit she missed entire chapters of her children's lives. Success was intoxicating, but it was also lonely, and the silence around that loneliness was deafening. But rumors soon began to swirl, suggesting all was not as perfect as it appeared. Fans began to notice the cracks, walkouts from interviews, abrupt tour cancellations. Stories whispered about exhaustion, burnout, emotional breakdowns. But Diana kept it all behind the curtain. She was taught, especially as a Black woman in entertainment, to keep smiling, keep performing no matter what. Publicly, she was poised, but privately, she was hurting. Fame hadn't protected her. It had demanded everything from her. Friends recalled long phone calls filled with tears, moments of doubt she never shared with the world. To fans, she was still Miss Ross. But to those closest to her, she was a woman carrying 4 decades of bottled-up pain. Questions piled up, curiosity intensified, and the truth felt closer than ever, but remained just out of reach. As Diana entered her 70s, the world continued to celebrate her, but a deeper story was clearly waiting to be told. Fans longed for more than just the music. They wanted her truth. And with each passing year, interviews became more introspective, more personal. There was a growing softness in her voice, a vulnerability that hadn't been there before. Friends say she began reflecting more on the choices she made, the sacrifices no one saw. And eventually, the emotional pressure reached a quiet breaking point. The woman who had once kept everything inside was finally ready to open up, and when she did, the world listened. Then came the moment everyone had waited for. The moment the celebrity decided to finally speak their truth. In a candid interview marking her 75th birthday, Diana Ross finally spoke the words she'd kept locked away. She admitted that for decades, she sacrificed her emotional well-being for success. She revealed the loneliness of hotel rooms, the heartbreak of broken relationships, and the guilt of missing milestones in her children's lives. She said, "I gave everything to the stage, but sometimes I forgot to give enough to myself." Fans were stunned. This wasn't the diva image they had known. It was the real woman behind the legend. And in that moment of raw honesty, Diana Ross gave the world something even more powerful than music herself. In one courageous moment, everything we thought we knew about her changed forever. Diana's truth gave new meaning to everything that came before it. The strength in her performances, the grace under pressure. It wasn't just talent, it was survival. Her vulnerability reshaped how the world saw her. She became not just a star, but a woman who had endured, persevered, and finally chosen herself. Her fans, they loved her more, because behind the gowns and the glamour was a human being longing to be seen. This revelation reminded fans everywhere that beneath the glamour is always a deeply human story, full of courage, honesty, and hope. Diana Ross's story isn't just about fame, it's about what it costs to chase a dream and the strength it takes to reclaim yourself. Her honesty didn't break the legend, it deepened it. If this story moved you, subscribe now, because the next revelation we share might be the one that helps you understand your own. These are the stories that stay with us long after the spotlight fades.